Holy encores! This is Flight Check, Season 3, Episode 4, Late Night Flight Edition. We're back once again with a late night show. Haven't done one of these in a long time. But Knox is out this week. I was working late. So here we are. It's the Red Eye Flight. Late Night Flight. Curly and I coming in hot. My name, as always, is Sandy Toes. And only to my left tonight is my fellow host, me. Curly Double Q. We're bringing twice the energy tonight because it's so late, you know.
Yeah, we've got an overnight layover
exactly.
in 4-0 airport.
Yes,
it's pretty nice.
4-0 airport.
Only
that is the airport code.
First class. Yeah,
I think if you actually go to the FAA website and look up 4-0, it's a picture of the FlyQuest logo. That's actually how
it might be.
That's how the airport is designed.
Yeah,
it's just the FlyQuest Q. So
we're in a really cool suite too. You know how like in airports, like you have the United Club where you've got to wait for your flight, but you've got some premium service right there.
Yeah,
that's where we are. We're sitting right there.
We're sitting real pretty. FlyQuest sitting real pretty after, let's be honest, maybe a closer game against Golden Guardians than
expected.
It's actually funny, and we'll get into this tonight. I think it's funny how the Golden Guardians game was close in the way that I expected the C9 game to be close.
Mm-hmm.
And the Cloud9 game was a stomp in the way that I expected the Golden Guardians game to be a stomp. But nevertheless, we are here to talk about FlyQuest and everything that they bring. Quick reminder, if you cannot catch all the show, I know it's late for all you East Coasters, but the VOD will be available here on Twitch and on YouTube on our channel, Flight Check Podcast. And the audio version will be up on your favorite listening platforms as well. The first 3 episodes of Season 3 are up there, so go back, listen to those if you missed them. Give us those clicks, those impressions. We'll get tonight's episode up on there for you as well. And if you're listening to those and you want to catch the show live, normally it's at 8 p.m. on Monday nights. Tonight it's a little later, but twitch.tv/FlightCheckCrew. Get over there, smash that follow button so you get the noti on when you're going live. And with that, let's get into it. Hey, even on a late night flight, you still have to check in. So we are going to check in around the league real quick. North America just finished up week 2. Some real interesting results. So things that stand out to me, I'm going to rattle off 2, and then Curly, I want to hear what stands out from you. For me, it's what's smack dab in the middle, actually. The fall of Counter Logic Gaming with the 0-2 weekend, and Team Liquid rising back up with the 2-0 weekend. Those two teams now tied for 5th, along with TSM, who fell back down to earth. But those are what stand out to me. CLG losing to both Cloud9 and the shocker, Immortals, and then Team Liquid winning games that probably should be expected over Immortals and Golden Guardians. So I wouldn't call it a return to form for them, but at least for UTL fans out there, maybe some encouraging signs that they can at least beat the teams projected below them. How about you? What teams are you checking in on? What stood out to you this weekend?
Honestly, if anything, what impressed me most is Immortals being able to actually pull out a win over CLG, because CLG showed me a lot stronger of a team in the first week than I expected them to.
Yeah.
So falling to C9, that's honestly to be expected, because they also had a really hot first week. But being able to, being the first win for Immortals, that's a little rough. It tells me it was either a rough day, it might have been going back to their headquarters instead of playing in studio might have affected it. There's a lot of things, but it's just interesting. But it's also could just be a bad week
Yeah.
It's tough to say. CLG, I do at the end of the day expect to be able to be middle of the pack.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes when you're in the middle of the pack, you punch up and you take games off people you shouldn't, and you lose games to people you shouldn't, and you end up in that 5th, 6th place. Anyway, it's just how it works out. So ultimately, I don't think it's something CLG has to worry about too much, because I think they're a roster that has a really good synergy, and they'll be able to get over this. And hey, sometimes you need to give the little guy a win here and there. As for Team Liquid, I think it's first week hiccups. They got that out of the way. I do think they're going to be a strong contender for the rest of the season, especially, granted, it was a weaker strength of schedule this week, playing Immortals and Golden Guardians, who are towards the bottom of the pack. But, so it's kind of like when you send your main roster down to Academy. We call those confidence booster games to remind you that you are better than other people, and you have the ability to win. So maybe these were the confidence boosting games that they needed to get themselves prepped for next week, Yeah,
absolutely. I think one other thing that stood out to me quietly, EG kind of looked like they were maybe back a little bit. Mm-hmm. A lot of the matches this week felt like a lot of the quote-unquote bigger teams beating up on the weaker teams. Like EG
pretty much
going 2-0 over TSM and Dig.
Mm-hmm.
And then you want to know what was equally a 2-0 over TSM and
100
Dig?
Thieves.
100 Thieves. Also 2-0 over TSM and Dig. So it's like, okay,
crazy how we play them this week.
Okay, great. That's fantastic that like those teams can beat them, but I don't know how much it tells me about the relative strength of.
So what you're telling me is the only real matchup this week was us against C9, and apparently us against Golden Guardians.
Yeah, apparently Golden Guardians might be better than everyone thought. But, I mean, for me, legitimately, that is kind of it. Looking at last week's matchups, it's like, okay, it was the top 5, maybe 6 teams beating up on the bottom 4. And I think this week, there's a lot of huge matchups. And we'll get into week 3 for sure. A lot of huge matchups across the board that will tell us a lot about the relative strength of LCS. But I think it is time to start talking about first game of the week, and that was, of course, FlyQuest versus Golden Guardians. This game, lot slower and took a lot longer to put them away than I think people were expecting. Let me pull up what the actual game time was. Yeah, 38 minutes.
It was like 38 minutes.
Yeah, and they definitely went the scaling route. The Azir, the Zeri, River busting out the Poppy was a really interesting one. I was at the gym when this game was going on, and I was in the middle of like literally doing some bench press, and all of a sudden, and I'm like, I was half paying attention, so I think I had actually missed draft, and then all of a sudden I hear something about River on Poppy, and I almost like dropped the bar because I was so surprised. But things that stood out to me in this game, impact on the Gwen. He made, now of course, Licorice, not the player he used to be, but he made Cassante, and Cassante is a champ that's been absolutely running over everything else in top lane. But Impact's Gwen made Cassante look balanced, in my opinion. And that is no easy task. Thoughts on this one? I know, definitely it took us a bit longer to put them away, and I haven't had a chance to go back and review this one, but any thoughts from this game?
My biggest thoughts on this game is it really exposed a lot of potential flaws in our approach to games and our game plan overall, because this was harder than it should have been. It should not have taken us 38 minutes to beat Golden Guardians.
Yeah.
We should not have let them scale up to that ability. And I think kind of some of the stuff I was praising last week got to the point of being an issue. Because last week I was saying how we take the patience, we wait for our moment to strike, and then we dig all in. This was just a lot of waiting and a lot of waiting and a lot of waiting. And then suddenly we got the Baron the last time, and then we made an all-in push.
Yeah.
It's like we were kind of taking too long to do things. Like, this game didn't need to be nearly as long as it did. On the one hand, I like it in the case of Vikla, where he took an early L against Gory, and so like getting ganked, and he played cautionary. He's like, I'm going to stay on par with him. I'm not going to let anything trip me up again. And then Impact and Prince just both quietly gaining farm leads on their opponents. I'm going to be honest, my player of the game here is definitely more Impact than Prince, because even though Prince technically has a high KDA and probably a decent damage output, there was a lot of cullings to poke people away, and then we never followed up on anything, so it felt like Prince wasn't doing anything relevant. And maybe that's on Prince, maybe that's on the team not following up, who knows. But I'd say being such a monstrous Gwen and forcing a lot of MR out of the enemy team allowed for Spica and Prince to be able to do more damage because they were physical. And so I'd say Impact was kind of the silent carry of the game for most of it. And he wasn't silent the whole time. Like, he was able to get a lot of duels out against Licorice, where he either straight out killed him or at least poked him out so hard that now we got an advantage. And so Impact is kind of my MVP for this game because, like I said, just such a monstrous Gwen that it forced out MR, and he had a bigger impact in team fights to me than Prince did.
Yeah. Yeah, I thought. Yeah, I would actually agree. Impact was definitely my player of the game for this one. I'm about to sneeze at any second, so I will mute when that occurs. All right, here we go. Hang on.
While you're doing that, I will say, on the side of Golden Guardians, River is my MVP because he was running around a lot. He was very effort present. And then even Gory, because Gory getting that double kill after our top lane dive really prevented a lot of bleeding that could have occurred with Prince getting like the first blood, you know?
Yeah.
Or I don't know if that was a first blood, but that dive, like by being able to delete Prince right after he got a kill, prevent some snowballing.
Yeah.
Did numbers for probably what made the game go so long.
Yeah, and I know what you mean about I hear what you say about maybe some concerns raised over how long this game took, or maybe showed up some weaknesses. I'm not like too worried, and I don't want people to hear this and say, "Oh, Sandy's being cocky. He just thinks FlyQuest is the best, and it doesn't matter." Yada yada yada. It for me, it's not about like I'm being cocky. It's just like, okay, it was one game. You're gonna have games that you're off, but like for me, the takeaway is, okay, we kind of had an off game, and we still won.
Oh yeah,
and like that's the bigger takeaway for me, is that
for sure.
We didn't look that fantastic, and we still beat our opponents. And I think in an 18-game season, like this isn't baseball where like you play 162 games, so like if you lose one, it's not like the end of the world, right? Every single game in LCS matters. There's like a very finite amount of games that you can lose before it's like, okay, we need to stop losing now. You know, like, you could argue Dignitas and Golden Guardians are in this like 0-4 position, and they're probably like, well, we probably can't lose any more games. And like, could we have taken this L? Sure. Would we still be tied for first along with 3 other teams? Yes. Would it raise questions about how, this team is looking? Maybe. Could it have affected our performance going into C9 the next day? Possibly. There's no way to know for sure. But I would say, at the end of the day, we did get the win. People stepped up when they needed to. Prince turned in another great game, in my opinion. He had almost 19,000 gold. that 5,000 more than the closest person on Golden Guardians, and almost 3,000 more than Impact, by the way, which just continues to show how the strategy, and maybe this is a place to worry, is let's get Prince ahead, and he'll take over the game, which will only get you so far, and I do want to eventually see us doing something other than play through bot lane.
I mean, I disagree, honestly. The name of the game right now for this round robin, at least, or these set of patches, is ADC. Like, get a good ADC ahead, and you're going to stomp on most other teams. Like, I'd say the next match we're about to talk about is probably the only case where I've seen an ADC be not too relevant in the scoreboard or in the result of the match.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's totally reasonable. I think... I just go back to... I don't want us to be so reliant on one playstyle. And I think it's fine early on in the season when we're still kind of figuring out synergies, putting the team together, things like this. To borrow a Cadril phrase. This is a total sidebar. I love Cadril. He, all the time, he uses the phrase like, chumps like these, or like, items like these. He always says like, blank like these, and it's one of the funniest things. I get a chuckle every time I hear him say it.
Well, if you want to talk about switching up the strategy...
Yeah.
The next game is probably going to be really good for that.
Yes. So, yeah, let's hit Cloud9. That is the next team under our belt now. This game, a lot faster than the Golden Guardians game by almost 10 minutes. 29:58 coming in right under. And it's interesting. So, like, Prince got Player of the Week, right? Vikla had such a good game on the Skyless.
He had a beautiful game. If like, any coaches should do anything against FlyQuest, it is ban Zeri and Silas.
Yeah. That is
like your the things you should do
against FlyQuest. Like, we're giving
because ban Zeri against Prince, and ban Silas against Vikla.
Yeah,
Vikla is a beast on Silas. It is the champion, I think, that got him Rookie of the Year.
Yeah,
like from the highlights that Nox sent me and everything I've seen this split. He is a monster on these champions. So don't give him Silas if you want a chance to win in the game. Otherwise, you might as well just, FF15 if that was allowed.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. I am apparently dropping frames like crazy, so hopefully we will steady out here.
Dropping frames while I'm dropping bombs, SMH.
Yeah, there we go. Looks like it's steadied out. Hopefully that doesn't keep happening. All right, so one thing I'm just noticing now about these bans, there's like 6, maybe 5 jungle bans in total, 4 of which were on the side of Cloud9. Graves, Nocturne, Maokai, Elise on Cloud9's side. Forcing Spica onto the Amumu, which looked good, by the way. He goes 2-1-9.
On that, man.
It was actually a fantastic champ.
The amount of close calls he had. Also, the max range bandage tosses were beautiful.
So many times. So really, really fantastic stuff. And yeah, I was really speaking of okay, I really want us to not only play through bot. We clearly played through mid jungle this game. And it was so good to see. And when you have a team that is so dynamic in who it's giving opportunities to carry to, it just makes you... And this is very elementary stuff, so I'm not saying anything that's, mind-blowing here. I'm not pretending to say anything crazy. But when you're able to, this early in the season, show off multiple playstyles and that you're able to play through multiple lanes.
Mm-hmm.
I think it bodes very, very well. And, again, trying not to get too overhyped, overreact too much. But you can't help but see this as really encouraging signs for the impending future.
Yeah.
Talk to me
Another
about...
thing.
Oh, yeah. No, go ahead, please.
Another thing I want to talk about this match is just, Impact gapping the hell out of Fudge.
Yeah.
Fudge probably was, people were arguing, one of the most monstrous top laners, looked really good all first week, every day up until Grandpa Impact had to put him back in place, and I'm
Yeah.
very here for it. At this point, this might be very hyphy of me. The only top laner that might be able to put Impact in check will be someday, and we will find out later this week how that's going to go.
Yeah. I think...
If he loses softly, and if he gets Cassante like this, obliterates.
Yeah. So, great win this weekend. 2 great wins now, and 4-0 is on the board. It's funny because the Prince Berserker hype, there was so much hype around, this huge matchup, massive matchup in this bot lane, and then it's like Prince goes 1-0-3, Berserker goes 0-0-1. It's I thought this was supposed to be a matchup between 2 gods of the bot lane. What happened?
Both so good at the game they do nothing.
Yeah, exactly. Very low kill game. Well, on Cloud9 side, we got a lot. Vikla got a lot of kills.
To be fair, I think also this is just a draft if on C9 side because Ashe Jhin is question mark for me. I don't know if I'm just not noticing how wide the meta is, but it's...
Yeah, I mean the support
I don't know what you're trying to get done here.
So the support pool is just so weird right now because it's like you're seeing all kinds of stuff getting thrown in there, and
you know what? I think Berserker and Sven forgot to swap because everyone knows that Japort is so much better now.
Oh yeah. I mean, Ashe is definitely very viable as support. The W for slow, you got the E for vision, the ulti obviously for engage. So it's like, okay, yeah, legitimate. The only thing Ashe support doesn't really have is any kind of gap closer, obviously. But I mean, what are you gonna do when you're arranged? It's not like Karma has any kind of gap closer unless you want to count the shield and speed up.
Yeah, I'd say that's a decent gap closer. And doesn't your empowered Q slow you a little bit?
It does, but I mean, so does Ashe W. So it's like,
fair enough.
I guess it's whatever you want to, whatever the players are determining is their favorite meta pick right now. Then I mean, that's what they're going to play. So if they're feeling the most comfortable on the Ashe support, then that's what Sven is going to play, and then he's going to end up losing the game. And I'm not blaming it on the Ashe support. I'm just saying, one of these teams picked a traditional Caitlyn Lux bot lane, and the other did not. And, it looked like, to me, we played a pretty standard comp, and it turned out for the best.
Honestly, I think when it comes to support, what the mood is right now is you roll a d20, hope for the best, and hope you can pilot that champion.
Yeah. No, I totally agree. All right. So that was week 2. Do you have any other thoughts on week 2 before we move on over to week 3? Because I think there's a lot of discussion to be had here.
I guess just a summary for C9. I already put it in a tweet, but the more people you steal from us, the better we're getting, obviously. So Jack, you might want to consider giving us some pieces back because, it doesn't seem to be working for you.
Yeah. It's like the more it just fuels us. The more souls you take, the more it just fuels our power as an organization. It creates the revenge narrative. It only makes it stronger, So just stop taking our employees. All right. LCS Week 3 predictions. We will move into that. I am going to simply go into studio mode real quick.
Studio mode.
Studio mode.
Man's going studio mode. Wow.
I am indeed going studio mode.
Wow.
Why will it not pull up for me? That's weird. All right. Well, we might not be able to. Yeah, because the pictures are.
No predictions.
Well, we're gonna be able to do predictions. It's just kind of like messed up because we only have the. We don't have the normal.
Hey, it's an NA production.
Setup
we can just casually. You can get me talking about the matchup and just slowly fix the thing on the left. It's okay.
Yeah,
we've done it before.
Exactly. We've done that before. That's exactly what we're gonna do.
Oh no!
All right. Boom. So
also, if you want a quick mood check about how I'm feeling this week.
Oh yeah. Put that on the. Put that more on the left.
I got it. Yeah. I got it.
There we go. Oh, there it is. Got it.
Or if you want to see it over here.
There we go.
Oh, or over here, just
one of them.
Point is,
we'll figure it out. I love live editing the stream.
Live editing is the best part of streaming. Honestly,
all right,
that's character.
There's last week's predictions. I think we all crushed it. As far as I'm aware, Nox is still saying.
Here's the thing. I can tell you right now. We can make this segment real quick if you want.
I kind of want to drag this one out a little bit. I think there's some discussions to be had.
Do you?
Yes, I want to debate it a little bit the pessimist.
Okay.
I know you've got things you want to go do. I know you've got a busy schedule at 10:30 at night, but look. I think there's a debate to be had here. I'm just yanking your chain.
Yeah.
Yes, Hunter Talkpod, I do know I can do the preview thing and edit while the screen isn't live. I just, I think the power move is to simply not to. And to make you all watch me edit the stream while we're here. So, that's my choice. All right, so as far as I'm aware, Nox is choosing to predict a 2-0 for EG and 100 Thieves this week.
He is, and he is refusing to elaborate, so no one gets to know what's going on inside his brain.
I mean, I'm sure he would have excellent reasoning, but unfortunately we don't get to find out. So, Curly, it does fall to us to discuss this.
Provide the content.
Evil Geniuses on Thursday. Again, we're the second matchup on Thursday and the first matchup on Friday. I don't know why the LCS thinks that's the move, but so be it. That's the way it is. So 6 o'clock Thursday for EG. See, I think I know exactly what you're going to predict. I think you're going to predict the 2-0 weekend or week again. So let's start with EG. Tell me why you think FlyQuest is going to win, because I'm assuming that's your prediction, unless you're about to shock and surprise all of us.
I mean, Arkham in chat has one really good reason, hands diff. I'm going to be honest, I do actually think this is going to be our truly hardest matchup of the season in terms of actual skill, hopefully. Because even though GG was oddly long, oddly contentious, I think this is the closest team to us when they are in their form. Granted, first week they went 1-1, so it was kind of wishy-washy. Last week they had a weaker strength of schedule, so the 2-0 needs to be taken with a grain of salt. But at the same time, considering how massive some of the scorelines were, I'm still going to be like, hey, these guys are really good. Because even if it's a walkover, doesn't mean you're always going to get, 4-0-10 as Jojo P ended. Like, even if it's a walkover, sometimes it's a low blood walkover. So they really did stomp their opponents well, which shows that they are powerful. I think for me, what's going to be most exciting about this is seeing how much of a fight EG can put up against us, because I think Impact and Someday are pretty equally matched. I think JoJo and Vikla have decently similar playstyles where they play some ballsy, flashy champions and they go for big plays against each other. So I think that's going to be another case where it's going to be an equal matchup. Spica has looked better this split than in the entire last season. And so I'd put him back up on, like, he's looking like the MVP player he was, and he's going against the most recent MVP and Inspired. So that's going to be, to me, an MVP versus MVP matchup. I think the only case where we have a clear advantage is I will forever think that Prince is better than FBI.
I completely agree on this one. Yes.
Yeah. And I assume we're still going to have Winsome, as we have not had any updates on Ayla. So I'm just going to go into this under the assumption of Winsome. Yeah. Winsome has been performing really, really well with the LCS squad. I'm very proud of him. And so I'd say, at least the way he's been playing the split, he could be considered on par with Vulcan. I do actually think this is going to be the one case where it's EG favored. I think Vulcan is a bit better than Winsome. I'm not going to lie. I might have some bias toward, like, rose-tinted glasses towards how good of a season Vulcan had last year. But that's the only... So, like, if it's even, and then reverse matchups in the bot lane, it's like, this is going to be a fun match to watch, hopefully. Okay. But I do think this is going to be that case where, like you said, we play through the bot lane, and if we get Prince ahead enough, it won't matter what happens in the rest of the game. We'll be able to just absolutely obliterate them. So I think we're going to win out here. I think we're just going to quietly build up a lead, hopefully, and then just boom, burst, destroy everything, win the game. 24 minutes in. See you later, EG. Keep going lossless.
I want to point something out about the about Winsome.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to read off his score lines, and I know KDA doesn't tell you everything, but I think these four score lines say a lot. 00-11 versus TL, 0-19 versus Dig, 0-17 versus Golden Guardians, and 0-0-8 versus Cloud9. Playing a different champ each time. Lulu, Karma, Nami, Lux. In that order. That is a 17.5 KDA, if you are counting. That's really good, in my opinion.
That is really good.
Like, that is a player who... And, like, if you look at his kill participation, 69%, nice. 56%... 78% and 61.5% rounded up to 62%. So not only is he playing safe, but he's getting involved in the kills. He's in the fights. He's getting in there. And then he's not just dying randomly. And, like, stats, I think, in League, and this is a completely different conversation, but sometimes it's hard to pull things out, but, like, I think sometimes you have to combine stats to get a fuller picture. And when I see a player who's died twice in 4 games and is probably, somewhere between 60 and 70% average KP, actually, let me see if 65% is his kill participation so far this season. That's telling me that he is playing very, very well. That he is making plays, getting in there, and not dying when he does it. And that's exactly what you want out of a support. I think legitimately, season ends today, you vote this guy as a top 3 All-Pro.
That's fair.
I think you just do. And now, okay, is that because he's got the great players around him? Maybe. But also maybe he's just good.
Here's the thing.
Maybe he's just
You can have great players around you. That doesn't always make you...
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, look at TL's first 2 games. Anyway, look
at Vitality last year. It was supposed to be all great players.
Look at
any super team ever.
Look at Fnatic right now. Anyway.
Fnatic is...
All right, so let's get back to EG.
Back to America.
back to America. I think, for me, I think we have the bot lane advantage. Uh-oh. Hang on. Might be losing frames.
Everything is okay. Your stream is stable.
Stream is still stable. All right, cool. It's coming back to the green. I think we have the bot lane advantage in Prince over FBI. And I don't think right now, the way Winsome is playing, because I said all that, because I don't think Vulcan is so much more ahead of Winsome right now for it to make a qualitative difference.
Statistics-wise, he's actually behind.
Exactly. Jojo has not really impressed me so far this season. I think he's been looking a little rough. Vikla looked so good on the Sylas. Top lane and jungle will be the interesting points for me. Impact Someday and Inspired Spica. I think if anything goes wrong, it would be there. I think I still say the fly win. You know, until I see otherwise. And it's not like... Again, I'm not trying to be cocky or, you know, oh, we're so much better. Like, I think we're good. And I think we are better than most of the LCS. I just think right now, and as the season goes on, synergies will come, the game planning will continue to evolve, all these things. But right now, I think we just have the better players. And I think it will show this weekend. Or this week, sorry. It's in like 3 days, right? Keep saying this weekend. Mm-hmm. And it's going to take me a long time to get used to no LCS on Saturday, Sunday. Even this past weekend, I was like, dang. I told my my fiance and I, we were out on Sunday, and we got back. And I was like, hey, how nice does it feel for us to get home? And I'm not like, all right, time to turn on the LCS. She was like, oh, it feels great. So, LCS, you're doing great in one demographic, and that is, partners. Partners of LCS fans are overjoyed that it's no longer on the weekend. So, you're doing great in that respect. Yeah, I think we both have FlyQuest here, don't we?
Yeah, we do.
Excellent. All right, let's talk 100 Thieves, and I think like a lot of the points that we just discussed about EG are equally applicable.
Oh, I've got a whole different feel on 100 Thieves.
Oh boy. All right. Well, some of my thoughts are still applicable, but now I got to hear what you have to say. Let me just start off and say that I think people were down on 100 Thieves because they were saying, oh, Double Lift is going to take a while to ramp back up. Bjergsen is washed. No. And, and they've got these rookies, blah, 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 blah. I think this team looks a lot better than people expected them to. I think they look better than I had them at 5. If I had to redo my power rankings, I'm probably bumping them up to 3 or 4. And I think there's something brewing here in this 100 Thieves camp. That said, for many of the reasons that I just predicted fly over EG, I am still going to predict fly over 100 Thieves. I'm locking that in. I'm not abandoning my post. Still calling it for FlyQuest this week, this Friday. First game of the day. Don't forget. But Curly, you say you've got some different views on this 100 Thieves team. So talk to me about that.
Well, their only wins are against the bottom 3 teams, if I remember correct. Or, sorry, because they won against Immortals. I believe they won against Dignitas. And I believe they won against TSM. Let me double check that, but I believe that is who they've won against. See, Dignitas, Immortals, and TSM. Yes, so 5th place, 8th place, and 9th place. And TSM, people predict low anyway. So we'll give them the TSM win. I'm going to be honest, because TSM started out spicy.
Yeah.
Went through a bad week. But if 2 of your 3 wins are against Immortals and Dignitas, yeah, I take your wins with a grain of salt. And then on top of that, I'm all for NA talent. I love that we've been developing the NACL. I like seeing Tenacity and Busio on the 100 Thieves roster. Like, you know, some rookies combined with some, you know, considerable goats in Bjergsen and Double Lift. And then a good old reliable closer, I'd say one of the most consistent jugglers over the last 2 seasons. Always, in my opinion, top 3, top 4, no matter what. However, these rookies are going to get absolutely clapped. Tenacity doesn't stand a chance against Impact. And when, like, Busio, I don't think it's a matchup against Winsome as much it is as Prince is going to absolutely obliterate both lanes. Sit down, Grandpa Double Lift, go back to the retirement home. Prince is here to take the crown, and you can't stop him. That is all. Thank you. Good night. FlyQuest win. Sorry, 100 Talk. I love you guys, but you're going down.
I will say on the Double Lift point, I actually don't think he is that far behind as people thought he was going to be. And I actually think he will really ramp up this season. After just seeing these first 4 games, I think he will look very legit, and I think he will contend for like the top 3 ADC in this league by the end of the year. If, you know, things keep going on 100 Thieves as they are now. And I think this team could look really, really good considering how TL looks out of sorts. EG does not look as great. 100 Thieves really can contend, I think, for top 3 as the season goes on. And, of course, it's all, like, based off of 4 games, right? So
we'll see.
There's a lot more games to be played. 14 games of regular season. Who knows how many of playoffs. 18 more of summer. More playoffs after that. So who knows?
Do we want to try and outdo Summer Split and have all of the frickin' reverse sweeps?
No. We're gonna pass on. I'm kind of over, you know, just like let's have some clean 3-0s, you know. Let's just keep it like nice and simple. I think I'm okay with that. No stress. No stress. That's my mantra for this season. No stress.
Week 3 and we're already talking about playoffs. We need to settle down.
Yeah, exactly. We do. We really do. All right. It is time. Do you have anything else you want to talk about for week 3? Oh, I do. I know one thing. Do you have anything else?
Not particular. I guess the one thing is that I believe Zarya is going to be a big picker ban for at least against 100 Thieves for us. So whichever side wants to get it first will have an advantage, or whichever side bans it will, you know, have to see what the fallback is.
Totally.
Because Double Lift has been looking really good on the Zarya. I will.
Yeah. I alluded to earlier, week 3 has a ton of banger matchups. So you have FlyQuest versus EG. Not only that, you've also got Team Liquid versus 100 Thieves on Thursday. And I will note TSM versus Cloud9. Okay, this is maybe TSM's last chance to say, hey, we're legit, before people kind of write them off again. They couldn't beat EG or 100 Thieves this past week. If they beat Cloud9, maybe there's a conversation there. Who knows? And then Friday, it's FlyQuest 100 Thieves. Big game. EG versus Cloud9. Another huge one. And I think, yeah, there's going to be some good matchups this week.
I'm going to be watching TSM CLG more, actually.
TSM CLG El Clasico actually looks kind of good.
And this is like the first time in seasons I'm like actually excited for.
Yeah, I think week 3 is going to have some banger matchups for sure. All right, it is time for the Fantasy LCS rundown as we come back to our normal.
Oh Lord,
there's a lot to talk about here, Curly. So let's pull up sleeper.com. Flight Check Fantasy.
You only see one problem with my roster this week. Everything else was actually really good. I got some good picks and bans. I got lots of points from almost everyone.
Yep.
Almost everyone.
All right, so here's how things went. I made some roster swaps this week. I dropped Ignar and Jensen and picked up Palafox and Huhi. That did not help me out whatsoever. I go up against the second highest scoring person in Nox, and I got absolutely clobbered. And I didn't even get the median score. So here's how things stand after week 2. Nox, in a stunning reversal of fortunes, is the number 1 player, followed by TMB, Hooli at 3-1, Ricebox and Andrea tied at 2-2, Curly's at 1-3, and then Road and I are at 0-4. And if you're wondering why I'm talking about 4 wins or losses for everybody, that's because in our league, everyone plays an additional game against the median score. I think this just helps out with balancing things out a little bit. You only get to play 6 regular season games before playoffs hit. And so this just helps balance out the standings a little bit. So if you consistently go up against the best scoring player every week, you don't get punished for it, because you can still pick up wins and have a balanced record and maybe sneak into playoffs based off of your own merit.
Currently, I'm the only one getting an advantage out of that, I think.
I think, looking at it, I think, no, Rice went 0-2 this week. And then...
So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess...
So I'm the only 1-1.
Yeah. I think Hooli got a 1-1 last week as well, so...
Well, because he was my opponent.
Yeah.
So.
Otherwise,
he would have 2-0'd me.
Right now, Nox, with Tenacity, Inspired, Bjergsen, and Winsome, and somehow even with Stixay on his team, he is 4-0. So he's looking real good. Road Roller, last year's champ, Armut, Spica, Maple, Spawn, and Core JJ.
Oof.
This is rough. Let's do a little diagnosis. The doctor is in.
All right, let's take a gander at his matches last week.
So he went up against TMB, Fudge, Piosik, Gory, Prince, Sven. TMB is loaded. But like for me, I'd be looking to swap out top.
I see the problem here.
Top, mid, and bot.
Yeah.
And the problem is
here.
There's not a lot of options. Yeah, Dignitas. So like
that is the problem here.
Do you go to solo? Do you swap to a Blaze Olive? Neo is there, I suppose. There's not a lot of options here. So Road's got some work to do. Things I think are going to be tough for Road coming up in this season. Anything else standing out to you from Fantasy LCS so far? I'm mildly glad Nox is not on the show this week. That way we don't have to listen to him, glory in himself about how good he is at Fantasy LCS all of a sudden.
I mean, honestly, I think to me, one of the best teams right now is got to be TMB's.
Yeah.
Because securing Prince does numbers for him, and having Fudge also does numbers for him. Piosik this week actually performing to par. I'd say the only, even his weakest points, and Gory and Sven still having 30 plus weeks. Actually, Gory having a 45 weeks. So like,
Yeah.
he's got a solid like tent pole, and then very little like people bringing him down. So I think, to be honest, right now, week 2, my slate to win or at least easily place in the top half of playoffs, TMB.
Yeah, I think TMB and Nox definitely the.
Because what's Nox's team again?
He's
got Biglet. Oh no, yeah.
Tenacity inspired Bjergsen, Stixay, Ayla. I actually think I would take TMB's team right now.
Yeah, I think everyone who has a FlyQuest player should be top 4, if I remember correctly, or top 5.
Yeah.
Because who else? Yeah, Impact for Kuhn.
I'm a little too invested in CLG right now. I think I'm
Who's got the last FlyQuest player?
I'm a little concerned.
Because Huli has Vikla, Nox has Winsome Ayla, TMB has Prince, Andrea has Impact. Who has Spica? Oh, Road.
Road has Spica. Yeah.
Road has Spica.
Yeah, only his.
And that is so he's the exception to the rule of FlyQuest. Hey, Road, if you want to give me Spica,
ooh, don't listen to me. Don't listen to him, Road,
because you'll lose even harder. But like then,
don't listen.
Then I can start winning.
This is collusion, and it will not be allowed on this show. I am the host, and I will stop this. I have the mute power, as need be. So there will be no collusion on my show. Not my show, on my in my fantasy LCS league.
I will thrive off of picks and bans alone.
Fair enough. I will note, in the LFL Pod Super League, I'm crushing over there. 2-0. I had the second highest score this past week. Things looking good for me over there. So I am one of 2 undefeated teams. And I've got the second most points for. So not looking too bad. Impact closer Jojo Stixay Poom. Turns out that's a pretty good roster. I just need Stixay to step it up a little bit. All right. That's pretty much it. Prince did get Player of the Week. Finally, I think he deserved it more last week.
Week 1, absolutely.
Yeah, I think this is kind of like the makeup for not giving it to him week 1. Instead of giving it to Fudge, who played great. Don't want to take anything from Fudge, but look, he played Cassante twice. Prince 1v9'd both games against Dig and TL. So if this is the makeup for Prince not getting week 1 Player of the Week, then sure, I'll take it. But it's a week too late. All right. I don't really have anything else. Curly, do you have anything else you want to talk about? I guess we can talk about NACL. Nox, our resident NACL expert, not here for us to discuss things. But
I will say this. So today there was a huge matchup for Fly Fam against Fly Challengers.
Yes.
So Fly Fam, unfortunate result today, going 0-2. However, on the bright side, Fly Challengers going 2-0.
Yes. Well, Fly Challengers had a great weekend. They beat CLG Faith, and of course they 2-0'd Fly Fam. So the 4-0 week for them. Actually, sorry, they went 1-1 with CLG Challengers. So a 5-1 week for them. They're doing pretty good.
The big news there is Goo stepping down over the course of the weekend and Maniac stepping in. A lot of people saying Maniac looking pretty good, living up to his name, going for some ballsy plays, which honestly, I'm going to be perfectly honest. Wow, honestly, I'm going to be perfectly honest. Redundancy. Anyway, it's kind of, I think, the formula with any FlyQuest roster we've ever had over the last couple of years, aside from the current main LCS one, is limit test, pull it back into winning. And I think it works pretty well in like the NACL scene, because if you can limit test harder and then before it's too late, pull it back up to, in this case, avoid relegation.
Yeah.
That's fine, because if you limit test and learn from it, that's going to make you a better player, and it's going to give you overall more power as you climb through the ranks. So like, even though the scoreline is looking tough for Fly Fam, judging by like what I see from the games, from the tweets, from every discussion, they're learning. And honestly, that's the point of a what would be considered a T3 team. It's not always about winning, it's about development.
Right.
So scorelines aside, I think the job's getting done.
Yeah, I think things continue to evolve. Fly Challengers looking good. 10-4 now. They have only lost one series. 4 wins, 2 draws, and an L. 10-4. They are... For some reason, it says they're tied for third. I don't really know how that works. Fly Fam...
Scale format is weird, yeah.
Fly Fam, unfortunately, 1-13. Not what we would have hoped for. Still 4 weeks left of NACL. So I think they've got, and I believe it's a single round robin. So they've got another 8 best of 2s to play, weirdly enough, which is crazy. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yep, 8. They could pull themselves up a little bit. They're right neck and neck with AoE Gold, Team Liquid First, and CLG Faith. I think both Cincinnati Fear and Wildcard Gaming are looking really, really good. So
Have they faced Wildcard yet?
I think. Hang on. This is Fly Fam. They have not faced Wildcard yet.
All right.
They did lose to Cincinnati Fear, though.
The advice that everyone seems to be ignoring about Wildcard. Respect Moose Hater. Ban Garen. I know you don't want to. I know it doesn't make sense in most competitive cases. Moose Hater is the exception to the rule now.
It's okay to target ban a player. Like, it's okay to ban Kindred against Piosik, even though you're never going to ban Kindred in another game versus another player. But against him, it's okay to ban the Kindred, because you know what he can do with it.
Especially when you...
It's that simple.
Let's see you. Wildcard, 2-0 to Immortals Challengers, 2-0 to AoE, 2-0 to C9 Challengers, 2-0 to CLG Faith.
Wildcard is legit. And so is Cincinnati Fear, actually. Like, both of those teams, very, very legit teams that, like, are absolutely going to contend for playoffs. I didn't realize this. All teams qualify for playoffs, which is really interesting.
Okay.
I guess it just depends on how you finish. For if you're going to play in that provisional tournament or not.
I see.
For promotion or demotion. But still, ongoing narratives, plenty to talk about there. But we have run out of things to discuss.
Yeah,
we need Nox. I mean, we just clearly need Nox here to tell us more about NACL.
I believe we have to talk some Smash as well, because I believe Golden Guardians just hosted an event.
They did.
And I think we were at it.
We will, yes, both Kodo and Jmook were there, so we can discuss that real quick. I was trying the other night. I was trying to find.
It is the Golden Gauntlet. It was hosted over the course of this weekend. Actually, 2 days ago specifically.
I was trying to find like any kind of like official record on what's it called? Start.gg. Because like Kodoran and Jmook were there.
But they were exhibition matches.
But they were exhibition matches. They were not actually like playing in the tournament itself.
Well,
but definitely some good melee from those guys from that weekend. I think Jmook won like a watch or something like that.
Yes, that was what it was. So, wow. Hold on. I don't know how this scoreline is supposed to work. But, so Kodoran was facing S2J. It's looking, it goes, click for the first thing. So he won on Frozen Pokemon Stadium. Lost on Dreamland, lost on Yoshi's Story. Did they play Yoshi's Story 3 times?
Oh, I have no idea.
What? I mean, that's what it looks like. Got 3 stocked the second time. Yikes. But he was able to pull it back the last time. And then lost to Battlefield. So ultimately a negative record against S2J, sadly. But we know Kadoran. He lives, he learns, he does not fret, he grows stronger.
He actually
will
just
climb the ladder.
He tweeted 24 minutes ago. And
Yeah.
He said, "As soon as I got back home, I practiced a shit ton. There's some clarity I realized from the Golden Gauntlet event that I know I must polish. It will take a long time, but I have a vision of a Marth that I want to achieve, a Marth that I'm able to say that I'm proud of. You all will see soon." Absolutely.
And exactly, this is the energy he brings.
That's the
J-Mook,
energy.
on the other hand, absolutely running circles around his doubles partner in Cody Schwab,
Oh, yeah.
getting winning Battlefield. They'd played Frozen Pokemon Stadium twice, winning with 2 stocks the second time. Lost on Final Destination, so I'm on my, not that this contributes to Pro Smash in any way, shape, or form, but Final Destination is what my friends call marbles. It is the last match we ever play in any session of Smash, and nothing else matters as long as you win this, you win the whole session. You could have won 0 games before this, but you won all the marbles. So I guess in this case, if they had played it last, Cody would have won the marbles. But this wasn't the marbles matchup. And they went on to Fountain of Dreams, where J-Mook got another 2 stock win. So should have just taken the marbles when he had the chance.
Should have just taken the marbles. Unfortunate. All right. I think that's everything. Is it not?
That should be everything. Yeah. I mean, because we already technically touched upon the sad news of Fiend leaving for C9. In a strictly professional light, though, like, all honesty, banter aside, I really am happy for Fiend, the opportunities that you can seek elsewhere, because that's kind of how esports and any profession goes. It's like, you work so long, you build somewhere up, can be good for you, and just something else, it's like, this is where I want to go. I think there's a slight chance that by being the director of merchandise like she is, technically gives her more opportunities than she had as the senior designer here at FlyQuest.
Yeah,
as a role, especially because
correct.
It'd be dishonest to say that Cloud9 doesn't have a bigger wallet than we do right now. They do.
They do.
And so there's a lot more she can probably do there. And honestly, I'm happy for Cloud9 because that means they might have a new jersey for the first time in 10 freaking years.
They might make something other than like the big, it's like white with the blue, and then the Cloud9 logo is slapped on there somewhere. Yeah, they might.
Here's the thing. Here's the briefing meeting for being hired as a merch designer at
kids
Cloud9.
Like gradients, right?
Scale. They do. No,
put some.
I will give you
on there. The Gen Z will like that.
The design guideline for when you get hired at Cloud9 is scale up or down the C9 logo and put it on the front, and now you have a jersey.
It's either
and decide if you want to move it left or right.
It's either
and do you want it on black
font,
or do you want it on white?
Yeah, the logo is either 8-point font or it's 72-point font. There is no in between. No other numbers exist. 8 or 72. Pick your font.
And bam, you have a jersey. And bam, you have a jersey.
Jersey.
Send it. Make people pay way too much for it. Lose internationally anyway.
Absolutely. All right.
Bing.
On that note, great note to end on right there. Thank you, everyone, for tuning into this episode of Flight Check. LCS keeps rolling. Week 3, just 3 days from now. Freaking wild. 6 p.m. Eastern Time versus Evil Geniuses on Thursday. And 5 p.m. Eastern Time, right? Do I have that correct?
I believe so, yes.
Versus 100 Thieves.
Saving any audio
Friday.
delays.
Yes, I am correct. Saving any audio delays. So, be sure to catch the show on Twitter for all of our instant reactions and thoughts. The show is at Flight Check Crew. Myself at SantosDB. Nox not here tonight, but you can catch him at Noxwar with 2 R's. And Curly at Curly_QQ_. Make sure to hop into the Flight Check Discord as well. Big things coming, TM, there. where all kinds of esports discussion and otherwise take place. If you missed any part of this episode, VOD will be up on YouTube real soon, tonight or tomorrow morning. If you're watching that and would like to catch the show live, we do broadcast the episode usually every Monday night, usually at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, right here at twitch.tv/FlightCheckCrew. Can also get the audio version of this episode on Spotify, Google Podcasts, I believe Apple Podcasts, wherever you want to go. And you can listen to our lovely voices over there. Curly, shout-outs, plugs, anything you want to say before we call it a night.
Yeah, actually my first plug. So this semester, as some people have seen on Twitter, I'm doing an internship with my university.
Woo!
So now I get to dox myself and tell everyone where I go to university. Follow BWU Esports on Twitter and keep a lookout. We don't have League of Legends, but we do have Overwatch, Rocket League, COD, and Smash Ultimate. And so, like, personally, I would love it if you went and gave them a follow, especially because over the course of the semester, you'll be able to see me develop their content, as that is my role at there. So any videos, any highlight reels you will see will likely have passed through me, and I'll be trying to, basically give them the hype that these players deserve and set them up for a potential future in esports, because, nothing makes an esports player like being hyped up. Again, if you want that Twitter handle, it is BWU Esports. Yes, on Twitter.
Do you get do you get a jersey?
I have to pay for my jersey, but I will be getting a media team shirt.
Nice.
When they were supposed to come in over the course of the weekend, but honestly, the internship, the first thing I've done directly related to it was Saturday. We had a media day. I tweeted about it, and I met all the players, and there's a lot of fun people on there that I'm really looking forward to highlighting this semester. Nice. So keep an eye out on that. That aside, I'm going to say shout out to FlyQuest for giving me the opportunity to get another plant. I haven't been able to get it yet, but I will get it before match day on Thursday.
Oh, yeah.
So keep up the good games, and I will get more and more plants that I will do my best to keep alive.
Excellent. I'm trying to think if I have any shout-outs. Zeus wants the Twitter handle one more time.
I gave it to him.
Oh,
don't
perfect. Worry. Excellent. I don't really have anything to shout out. Shout out to. All right, actually, here this is my tribute.
Okay.
Shout out to Fiend. I know we just talked about it, but my turn to soapbox for a moment.
Do it.
Curly and I are both wearing jerseys designed by her. I've got the spring Sakura jersey on right now. Curly's got the Worlds 2020 jersey on. I've got 2 hanging up drying right now, literally right here to the side. There's 3 more
I've
in my closet.
A lot in my. Really, I think the only one I don't have is Sequest.
I've got an old I've just got a bunch. I've got other things she's designed that she's had her hand in, and it's been really cool to be able to buy esports merch that doesn't look lame. That is cool. And
you can say it looks good, Sandy.
I think most doesn't look great. And FlyQuest under Fiend has just looks so consistently good. The theming has been great. The branding has been great. I've got t-shirts. I've got sweaters. I've got all kinds of things. And it's just been consistently fantastic. She will be absolutely missed. And that's who my shout out goes to. That's my plug. And with that, that's all the time we have for tonight. We will be back next week to discuss week 3 of LCS. I don't remember if Nox will be back or not. I think he will.
He should be.
He should be. So look forward to that. You won't have to listen to just me and Curly next time. It'll be Nox too, don't worry. For all you Nox stands out there. So for now, I'll just say, stay safe out there. Don't forget to hit the head on the nail. And we'll see you all very, very soon. For myself, adios. And for Nox, have a good one, guys.
Peace, y'all.